Hi, my name is Brennan Guyon, and I'm here with the Bridging the Gap group in order to show you how to use the labeling feature on Schoology assessments. The reason we're doing that is because there are technology enhanced items on the SOL, and we don't have any released questions for those. And so we kind of have to come up with them ourselves if we want to get our students practice. If you're trying the question of the day strategy, this would be a good way to come up with questions of the day that would challenge our students and get them to think beyond a multiple choice test. So to do the label feature in Schoology, you're going to go into your Schoology course and add an assessment. I'll give it a title and put in the necessary information and create it. Now, once we click on the Questions tab, there's a whole bunch of options. Today, we're just focusing on the label image, but I encourage you to check out some other ones. So now I need to go find an image. So in my Modern Global Studies class, I use maps a lot. So you can have them drag names of countries to the different maps. But because we're focusing on technology enhanced items, I thought we'd try to mimic one of those questions. So for social studies, this might be something that would be a TEI question, where they'd have multiple options and they have to drag and complete the chart. So I like to use PowerPoint, but you could also use Adobe Express or any other place that makes sense to you. I like the Smart Art feature because it's pretty easy. And so I go down to hierarchy and I like the one in the left. So I'm going to choose that. I just delete what I don't need. I can right click on this and add in a different, let's see. There's a way to add something below it, add shape. And I'm going to add it below. So I can make 4, 5 boxes. There's lots of different formats. And you can kind of make it pretty if you want. And this is what I came up with. So I find it easiest to save the images. I use the snipping tool. And I'm just going to save this picture to my downloads. And so this is going to be War Games test question. So now I have my image. When I go back to Schoology, I add the image that I'd like, and I can change the size. I can make it bigger or smaller. Then I go in and I give my directions. Label the chart or graph, whatever you would call this. And I can put in other details if I'd like. So now we have to have the option for them to be able to drag. So we can draw and resize. I'm just going to make this pretty small box. You can even like change the colors of these boxes if that's fun for you. Let's make it green. I like green. And you can add a pointer. So like on a map, if it was a small country, you can mess with that feature. And then we're going to add possible responses. So we already have Guam and the Philippines. So I'm going to add in the real correct responses, which would be Cuba and Puerto Rico. And I'm going to add in some other distractors. We got Hawaii in 1898. I'll put in China for fun. And let's see, one more. How about Panama? So I now have my distractors. I have a few of them are right, a few of them are wrong. And so now I go create my key. So what should go in there is Cuba and Puerto Rico. But what if they put Puerto Rico on the left and Cuba on the right? So I need to make sure that I have both options present. So for these TEI questions, you can have more options. And in fact, that makes it a little more challenging for the students. Now, there's a few other things for additional setup options. You can make it be an exact match. In this instance, if they miss one, they could miss one or they could miss two. So I'm going to give them partial credit. So if they only get one of them wrong, I want to give them to get credit. So that's up to me. And so I'm going to leave it at that. And now if we go preview the question, we can see what it's going to look like from the student perspective. And so they can just drag the things up. It forces them to think a different way. There's lots of ways that you could use the labeling. I've had them label picture titles. I've had them given them political cartoons, and they have to put the title on the political cartoon based on the content. You could have them, like for a science class, label parts of a cell. maps, whatever works for your content. I hope this is helpful for you and that it would enable you to come up with some new formats for questions.